Let's go for it!
I like the dark stuff. Give me the dark stuff. I like the dark stuff. Give me the dark stuff.
Got any Blue Öyster Cult?
No, I don't have any Blue Öyster Cult. I ate 34 pairs last time around. Where were you?
Hey there, everybody, it's me, your buddy Dave, the host here at the Dark Stuff channel. Thanks a lot for checking out my new video, and maybe you can tell from the title, but I am shamelessly stealing this concept of the incomplete collection from James Griffith's channel. Okay, I watched his channel off and on for a couple of years, and I really like the way he comes up with sort of new original ways to discuss his collection. It's not always just about, I just picked up this, look what I got, look what I got, look what I got, which we all do. But I'm in a place right now where I'm not buying as much new stuff, and maybe that's, you know, residual effect of COVID, of not being willing to go out as much as I used to. I know I went to a record show here in Omaha about 2 weeks ago, and I was there, started digging, and just kind of freaked out. The crowd, there were so many people, everyone was all over one another, there was no masks whatsoever, and I bugged out after about 10 minutes. I only got 2 things, and I just left because I couldn't. It's long-winded way of saying that I really like his concept, a series of videos, I should say, of the incomplete collection. As a record collector, people are sort of drawn to be complete, you know, to get the whole thing, and I get that because I do that. But I have so many bands in my collection that I've neglected to talk about because I only have a portion of their collection, and it always seemed weird to me. Why would I want to talk about this band when I only have like 4 of the albums or whatever, and they have 10 or something like that, or they have 30 albums and I have 20. And so that kept me from talking about certain things. And now it's just like, well, I don't know, seeing that series that he did, especially the one on Lou Reed and Santana. Santana I made a comment on because it was really interesting to me. So I decided I'm gonna do some of that, you know. I'm gonna take that idea and run with it. And so for my incomplete collection series, I'm gonna start it right now, and I'm gonna start with Blue Öyster Cult. Blue Öyster Cult, the different. Okay, the next album in their catalog would be Secret Treaties, which was a pretty big record, and it's great, and I do have it digitally, and so I'm very familiar with the record. It's fantastic. Career of Evil especially is a great one. Patti Smith writing the lyrics on that one. But the next one I actually have a copy of is the live album On Your Feet or On Your Knees. This is from 1975. It's their first of 3 sort of classic live albums, and this one is really, really good. Performances are super strong. So On Your Feet or On Your Knees has songs from the first 3 records recorded live. Great stuff. Also a cover of Born to Be Wild. But it's got, like, 7 Screaming Dizbusters, The Red and the Black, Harvester of Eyes, Cities on Flame. Just great stuff. Solid live album. Definitely such an important thing in the 70s. So many hard rock bands had just definitive live albums, and because it wasn't like in those days when you had YouTube and you could just go look up what a band is like live. This had to capture your imagination until you were old enough or whatever till you could actually go see the show yourself, and this one does a really good job of that. Next in line in their catalog would be their 1976 album Agents of Fortune. Huge record, had Don't Fear the Reaper, had ETI. It was a massive record, platinum. I don't actually have a copy of it, believe it or not, but I've heard it before. My collection picks up right here at Spectres from 1977. Okay, and this still features all of the original members. 71 to 81 had the entire original lineup, and then slowly, year by year, some of the guys would get fired or quit or whatever, and so you can count on pretty much all the stuff with the original lineup. So here's Spectres. Okay, this one has Godzilla, so a pretty big hit. I think this is a pretty successful record. Some of the other good songs on here, I would say Death Valley Nights was good. Are You Ready to Rock? It's okay. I Love the Night. Nosferatu is not bad. Pretty good record. But known by a lot of people because of Godzilla, because that was a huge radio hit and probably still played on old school radio, but I just haven't listened to it in a really long time. By 1978, Blue Öyster Cult had 2 huge bona fide hits with Don't Fear the Reaper and Godzilla, and they were just huge. They did live album number 2, Some Enchanted Evening, which is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, their biggest selling album of all time. This was multi-platinum, so they're cashing in on the fact that they've got some actually bona fide hits. This one has ETI, has Astronomy, later covered by Metallica. It has a cover of Kick Out the Jams, and We Gotta Get Out of This Place by the Animals. It's got Godzilla, it's got Don't Fear the Reaper. So again, live versions of their big hits. And a really solid album to boot. I mean, it's great playing and stuff like that. Definitely worth having. Funny that it's their biggest selling album ever. But, that's the way of the world, I guess. So after the success of Some Enchanted Evening, this big live record, the band wanted to continue, or maybe the record company, I mean, who knows what the deal was back then, but they decided to not use Sandy Pearlman, their manager, who's produced every one of their previous records, and go with Tom Werman. Tom Werman had been working with Cheap Trick and a bunch of other artists, but he was a little bit lighter in the production touch. It was a little more poppy. That was kind of what he was known for at that time. Tom Werman later on produced like Motley Crue and a bunch of metal and stuff, but at this point, he was mostly doing AOR type music. So, rather than continuing in the sort of progressive hard rock sort of vein that they'd been doing for a couple of years, this is definitely geared towards radio, towards AOR. Yeah, I mean, this record's not all bad. It's okay. I mean, I Am the Storm is pretty good. That's probably the best song on here. In Thee was like some sort of minor hit. Mirrors is not bad. But there are some pretty weak tunes on here. And all things considered, I think Blue Öyster Cult probably wishes they didn't do this, because it was like a compromise. It was obviously to try to have another hit, a third hit or whatever, and it didn't work at all. So 1980 comes along and they put out Cultosaurus Erectus. I have this one. And this time they changed producers again. They're working with this guy Martin Birch. He's best known for working with Fleetwood Mac prior to the Lindsey Buckingham, Stevie Nicks version. He worked on some old school Fleetwood Mac stuff. He's worked with Deep Purple a lot. Later on, he would do a lot of the best Iron Maiden records. He produced those as well. So, I mean, after losing a lot of fans with the last record with Mirrors, they decided to go the more hard rock route They were also going to be doing a tour with Black Sabbath called the Black and Blue Tour. This was the record that they did in support of it, and it's pretty good. I mean, it's got Black Blade. The Marshall Plan is really good. Monster. I mean, nothing really resembling a hit, but a solid record. I think it went gold at the time, so it's a definitely enjoyable listen and a definite improvement over Mirrors, but one that, even though it looks like it was a hit record, I mean, when I saw the cover for this, I was like, oh, that's the one I want, you know? And then it was like it really didn't have any of their best known songs on here, but there's some good stuff. Like I said, Black Blade and the Marshall Plan are both really solid on here. So they went with Martin Birch again for the next one, and this one I only have on CD. This is Fire of Unknown Origin from 1981. Huge record. It had Burnin' For You as the single. So really what they did was they took the harder sound of Cultosaurus erectus and the sort of the pop sensibilities of Mirrors, and they merged the two together, and it worked out really well because this was a huge record and it's really good. Burnin' For You and Veterans of the Psychic Wars, both exceptional songs on here. Most of this record is actually really good, although Joan Crawford is supposed to be like a successful track, and I don't get it. I don't like that song on this one, but huge record for Blue Öyster Cult in 1981. Put them back on the radio, back in arenas, headlining and whatever. So big record for Blue Öyster Cult. You know, not too long ago I did a video about Cheap Trick in the 80s, and a lot of what was happening with them was similar to Blue Öyster Cult. They had a lot of success in the late 70s, and sort of slowly into the 80s, the commerciality or the commercial success of the band waned, and they had to make some changes in order to keep their record contract and keep being able to tour and keep being able to function. Well, Blue Öyster Cult was doing that too, and even though Fire of Unknown Origin was big, they followed it up with a much more slick, kind of produced record done by Bruce Fairbairn, who I don't think most people knew back in 1983, but he got really successful later on with working with like Bon Jovi and artists like that, and did the Kiss record Psycho Circus in the 90s, which is a piece of shit, and he did a pretty bad job on it. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. The Revolution by Night gets knocked by critics as being a pretty bad album, but I don't agree. I think it's really good. First of all, Take Me Away is excellent. Okay. Shooting Shark, the single, with lyrics by Patti Smith, really, really good. Dragon Lady, Feel the Thunder, I think it's pretty good. I mean, some questionable production choices, but beyond that, I still like it. This is the first album to to not feature the entire original lineup because Albert Bouchard was fired in 1981. This is from 1983, and he's replaced by a guy named Rick Downey. And this was, like I said earlier, this is about the beginning of where members keep getting chipped off each successive record until you have Eric Bloom and you've got Buck Dharma left, and they continue the band from about that point forward. But I still stand by this record totally. Revolution by Night is really, really good. That's from 1983. And then the last one in my collection is Club Ninja. This is from 1986, and it's the first one after the Revolution by Night. This one, not quite as good. I mean, Dancing in the Ruins is a really good song. That was a single, and it still stands up today. They're back to working with their old producer, manager, Sandy Perlman. The rest of these, I mean, Shadow Warrior's pretty good. When the War Comes is not bad. But there are some corny songs on here, too. And this is, again, sort of the beginning, the wind down of Blue Öyster Cult being a major band from a commercial perspective. Now, I've never heard any of the records beyond this. They did one in '88 called Imaginos, and that closed out their Columbia Records contract. They did like two in the 90s and that I have never heard because I'd have to find them used somewhere, and they're not on any of the streaming services, so I couldn't even check them out. They did an album in 2020, last year, which I haven't heard yet. But at least that one's probably pretty readily available. So there you go. That was my incomplete collection of Blue Öyster Cult. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Thanks, James, for giving out the idea. Bye.